Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir. Good
Uh,
afternoon, sir. Good
okay,
afternoon, sir.
okay, let us start. Remember, we have been learning Chapter 6 Water Resources of our textbook India, People and Economy. Yesterday, we discussed about water resources in India. Today, we shall learn about water demand and utilization in India. I hope, like yesterday, it will be an interactive class. Now I shall share my screen. Water demand and utilization. Yes, I told you earlier, yesterday we discussed about surface water resources, groundwater resources, and water resources along the sea coast, that is, water resources in the lagoons and the backwaters. And now let us read about water demand and utilization in India. How do we use water? Okay, so let us read. India has traditionally been an agrarian economy, and about two-thirds of its population have been dependent on agriculture. So we have known that India is an agricultural country, and about two-thirds of India's population have been dependent on agriculture. And now it is about 58%. Okay, 58% of the total population of India uh, have been dependent on agriculture for their sustenance, and hence development of irrigation to increase agricultural production has been assigned a very high priority in 5-year plans. Okay, CE population has been increasing, and if most of the Indians are cultivators, so we need water for irrigation. Okay, and we need to increase the agricultural production also, and to increase the agricultural production we need irrigation, and that is why this development of irrigation has been assigned as a priority, as a very high priority in all the 5-year plans in India. And number of multipurpose river valley projects like uh, Bhakra Nangal, Hirakud, Damodar Valley, Nagarjuna Sagar, Indira Gandhi Canal Project, etc. have been taken up, okay, to provide irrigation as well as to use the water in different ways. And in fact, India's water demand at present is dominated by irrigational needs. Okay, at present, India's water demand and India's water utilization is dominated by the irrigational needs. Okay, that means most of the volume of water is used for irrigation. Now let us discuss about the sectoral distribution of water resource utilization. Okay, so agriculture accounts for most of the surface and the groundwater utilization, and it accounts for 89% of surface water and 92% of groundwater utilization. As we talked earlier, okay, agriculture accounts most of the water resource utilization. and agriculture accounts for most of the surface and groundwater utilization, and the agriculture accounts for 89% of surface water utilization and 92% of groundwater utilization, while the share of industrial sector is limited to 2% of the surface water utilization and 5% for groundwater. That is, industrial sector uses only 2% of the surface water and 5% of the groundwater, and the share of domestic sector is higher, that is 9% in surface water utilization as compared to groundwater. So for the domestic uses, okay, surface water utilization is higher than the groundwater, because sometimes groundwater is not feasible, okay, not suitable for the domestic use. And so in all the cases, the share of agriculture sector in total water utilization is much higher than other sectors. Okay, as you will see here. Here, just so this pie diagram, okay, you will find in the old edition book. So this is about sectoral distribution of the surface water and the groundwater utilization, and in both cases, that is in the case of surface water or in the case of groundwater, okay, withdrawals, you will find that agriculture, okay, shares the maximum. See here, 92% in the case of groundwater utilization, and 89%, okay, let's see here, 89% in the case of surface water utilization. And while the other sectors, as we have read in the text, see, industrial sector, okay, uses only 2% of the surface water and 5% of the groundwater, okay. And for the domestic uses, as I told you earlier, as we found in the textbook, okay, so for domestic purposes, 9% from the surface water withdrawal, while it is only 3%, okay, while it is only 3% from the groundwater withdrawals. That means surface water withdrawal is higher than the groundwater withdrawals for domestic uses. So this is about sectoral distribution of water distribution, sectoral distribution of uses of groundwater and the surface water. Any question, boys and girls?
No, sir.
Next, we have demand of water for irrigation. Okay, as we discussed earlier, the most important demand for water in India is for irrigation. Okay, then why do we need irrigation? Why do we need irrigation in India? So let us find out the answer. Before we start, we may look at a map here. Okay, so this map shows distribution of irrigations, okay, here by different sources. So what are the sources of irrigation mentioned in this map? Just see the lesion or the index. So here we have the lesion or index, and see this color represents canal irrigation. The second one, okay, represents tanks, and the third one represents wells, and the broken line represents tube wells. And just have a look here. Okay, I think here this is the map, so I will make it big. Just see here. Here in southern part, okay, of India, we find mainly these tank irrigation here. Okay, here tank irrigations. Here so tank irrigations in Tamil Nadu also, and in some places in the coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh and here in Maharashtra also we find canal irrigation, and in some other areas we find well irrigation. And here in this Andhra Pradesh area also we find tube wells irrigation. Likewise in the North India, okay, here in the UP and Bihar area we find this tube well irrigation, okay, and here in Punjab, Haryana and this western UP also we find canal irrigation. Then here in Rajasthan and the other this northwestern part we find well irrigation also, okay. And but you will find that tank irrigations are mainly done in peninsular India, okay. So let us read the text. In agriculture, water is mainly used for irrigation. Everybody knows that, okay. Agriculture in the agriculture sector, water is mainly used for irrigation. So why irrigation is needed? Irrigation is needed because of spatio-temporal variability in rainfall in the country. So about it we also discussed yesterday. Here in India, distribution of rainfall, distribution of precipitation varies from one place to another place. That is what called spatial variation, okay. In some areas like Rajasthan and this northwestern part, okay, and in Gujarat areas also, and in the northern part Ladakh areas also we find less amount of rainfall or precipitation. Whereas in some areas, okay, in Northeast India for example, Meghalaya for example, we find heavy amount rainfall. So in this area, in this way we find a spatial variation in the amount of rainfall. Likewise we have temporal variation in the amount of rainfall also. Say in some seasons, for example during the southwest monsoon season, that is from June to September, we find concentration of rainfall here in these 4 months, okay, June, July, August, September. Whereas in the remaining months, especially in the winter season, there is little rainfall. So in this way we find temporal variation in the amount of rainfall, and that is why we need water for irrigation, okay, when there is no rainfall. And large tracts of the country are deficient in rainfall and drought prone. So say for example northwestern India, then Deccan Plateau constitute such areas. That means northwestern part of India and Deccan Plateau are drought prone areas and deficient in rainfall, and that is why we need irrigation, okay. We need irrigation for cultivation of crops. So here again let us examine a map, okay. Do remember this map? So it has been taken out from the last chapter of class 11 textbook India physical environment, okay. So this map shows drought prone areas. Just see the codes, okay, just see the codes. It is in the given of gray scales. See here the blank areas, white areas represent drought free area, no drought cases. Then the dark gray areas represent extreme drought prone areas. Next we have severe drought prone areas, and the lightest set represents moderate drought prone areas. And when we examine this map, so here, okay, here in this northwestern part of India, that is in Rajasthan, western part of Rajasthan, then northern part of Gujarat, okay, here we have extreme drought prone condition. Okay, and the northern part of Rajasthan, then here Madhya Pradesh area, okay, southern part of this Uttar Pradesh, then areas, okay, large areas, large tracts of Maharashtra, then Gujarat, all these have moderate these drought conditions. Okay, just have a look. Moderate to severe. So in some areas, I think most of the areas in Meghalaya, in Madhya Pradesh, we find severe drought prone condition. Okay, so accordingly we need irrigation for growing crops in these areas. In these areas where there is drought prone. Okay, any question, boys and girls?
No, sir.
So let us continue. Winter and summer seasons are more or less dry in most part of the country. Here in Manipur also, winter season is mostly dry. Okay, there is little rainfall. Hence, it is difficult to practice agriculture without assured irrigation. So if you want to grow crops during the winter, so we need irrigation. Okay, if you want to grow rabi crops, then we need irrigation for certain crops. Even in the areas of ample rainfall like West Bengal and Bihar, breaks in monsoon or its failure creates dry spell detrimental for agriculture. Even in the areas of this enough rainfall also, for example West Bengal, Bihar, sometimes we have breaks in the monsoon, and because of that dry spell, so it affects the crops. Okay, can you tell me what do you mean by break, monsoon break, or break in the monsoon? So this is one of the most important feature of Indian monsoon. Okay, say the monsoon gives rainfall continuously for about this 1 week, for example, and that period with rainfall is known as wet spell. And after that, again there will be another 1 week or 10 days without rainfall, and that dry period is known as break in the monsoon or dry spells. And when there is dry spell for a long time, then it also affects some crops, and at a time we need irrigation. Okay, then one more point you have to know is that we need water need of certain crops also makes irrigation necessary. For example, water requirement of rice, sugarcane, jute, etc. is very high, which can be met only through irrigation. So we need water, for the for certain crops. So for example, so water requirement of rice, sugarcane, jute is very high, and sometimes rainfall also cannot give enough water for this type of crops, and that is why we need irrigation, to increase the productivity. And provision of irrigation makes multiple cropping possible. So if we irrigate the land, so it also makes possible multiple cropping. Okay, say if there is water and if this temperature condition is favorable, then we can practice double cropping, triple cropping, or multiple cropping if there is irrigation. Okay, if irrigation is provided. And it also has been found that irrigated lands have higher agricultural productivity than unirrigated lands. So irrigated lands have higher productivity than the unirrigated land. And further, high yielding varieties of crops need regular moisture supply, which is made possible only by a developed irrigation systems. Okay, nowadays most of the farmers are using high yielding varieties of seeds, and these ISYB seeds require regular supply of water, and that is why we need irrigation. Okay, and in fact, this is why green revolution strategy of agricultural development in the country has largely been successful in Punjab, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh. Why green revolution has been successful in Punjab, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh? Because these regions, okay, have these highly developed irrigation facilities. Okay, canal irrigation as well as wells and tube well irrigations are provided in these regions, in these states, and that is why green revolution has been successful in these regions of India. Okay, remember we are discussing about why irrigation is needed in India. Okay, so in Punjab, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh, more than 85% of their net sown area is under irrigation. So most of the agricultural lands in Punjab, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh are irrigated. That is about 85%. Okay, of their net sown area is under irrigation. Wheat and rice are grown mainly with the help of irrigation in these states of Punjab, Haryana, western Uttar Pradesh. Of the total net irrigated area, 76.1% in Punjab, 51.3% in Haryana are irrigated through wells and tube wells. Okay, and this shows that these states utilize large proportion of their groundwater potential, which has resulted in groundwater depletion in these states. So from this paragraph we have known that 76.1% of net irrigated area is done through wells and tube wells in Punjab. Likewise in Haryana, 51.3% of the irrigated land is done by wells and tube wells. That means groundwater utilization is the highest in the northwestern part of India. Okay, now let us examine some maps. Just see here. Here, let us first look at this here. So this map shows canal irrigation in different parts of India. Okay, the shaded areas, whether it may be yellow or this purple color one, okay, all these are irrigated area by canals. And you'll find that here in Punjab, Haryana, and this Uttar Pradesh, western Uttar Pradesh part, you'll find irrigated mainly by canals. And likewise, let us examine another map here. So this map shows distribution of wells and tube wells in India, and here also we find concentration of wells and tube wells here in the northwestern part of India. Okay, here in the eastern part of Rajasthan, then Punjab, then Haryana, then Uttar Pradesh area. Okay, and here in the southern India also, here in Maharashtra also, we find concentration of wells and tube wells. And one more, okay, here. And this one. So this map shows a distribution of tanks. So you'll find a concentration of tanks in the peninsular plateau. Okay, in the peninsular plateau, tanks are also used for irrigation. Let us continue. So we have known that if we overutilize the groundwater, then the groundwater will be depleted and there will be health hazards also. Okay, just let us read. Uh, Overuse of groundwater resources has led to decline in groundwater table in these states, that is in the state of Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh. Okay, overuse of groundwater resources. We have known that groundwater is withdrawn for irrigation purposes. Okay, and because of that we are facing some problems. So in fact, over withdrawals in some states like Rajasthan and Maharashtra has increased fluoride concentration in groundwater. So because of overutilization, over withdrawal of groundwater in the states of Rajasthan and Maharashtra, okay, there has been increase in the fluoride concentration in the groundwater. This is a matter of serious concern. Okay, see, if we consume excessive this fluoride, then it may cause a disease known as fluorosis. Okay, so fluorosis affects mainly these teeth and this our skeletal system. Okay, it affects the bone. Okay, and this is a very dangerous disease. So let us see some photographs. See here. This is a photograph showing fluorosis, okay, affecting the teeth. The first one is the very mild condition. Top right side shows a mild condition of fluorosis. Then bottom left side, moderate fluorosis condition. Then bottom right, severe fluorosis. And this is because of consumption of this drinking water having high concentration of fluoride. Okay, and you must know that this fluoride also affects our skeletal system. So here we have this photograph, okay, of fluorosis affecting the bones. Okay, just see here, this is the right side is the x-ray, left side the photograph. And here we have a photograph from Jharkhand also. See, fluorosis affecting the skeletal system. Okay, a girl from Jharkhand. Actually, it softens the this bone. Okay, so this is a problem in Rajasthan and Maharashtra and even in Assam also. Okay. Any question, boys and girls?
Sure.
Yes.
What about the agricultural land in Manipur?
You mean about irrigation?
Yeah, irrigation and agricultural land about Manipur.
Actually, here in Manipur, we may say that most of the agricultural land in Manipur, especially uh, even in the valleys also, are not irrigated. Only in some areas, okay, maybe only around 9-10% are irrigated by canal. And we don't have this irrigation system from wells and tube wells also. And in the hill areas, as you know, You will not find this kind of canal or well or tube well irrigation. Most of the agricultural system in Manipur is about a rain-fed system. Okay, we totally dependent on the rainfall, and sometimes diversion work is there in the hill areas also. If there is a small river or a stream flowing in the hills, then sometimes we make diversion channels, and it is carried, okay, uh, by digging a small channel towards the agriculture field, and thus providing this irrigation. And this is also done in some plain areas. And here in Bishnupur district also, we are making diversion channels from the streams originating from the western hills, and from those channels, diversion channels, and we are giving water to the paddy fields also, and it is still going on. And our canal irrigation system, actually the government is trying to improve, but it has not been a successful one till now. Okay, so most of the irrigation done by the farmers is these diversion channels only. Okay, is done by making diversion channels, and that too sometimes we don't get perennial water also. We get water only when we get rainfall, or when the stream, okay, has water in the bed. Sometimes even the small streams also actually water does not flow, and at that time there is no water for irrigation. That is the condition here. But the government is trying to these make small irrigation projects, and some of these multi-purpose projects also there. Okay, like Thawal multi-purpose project, and here we have this Kuga Dam also, and from that some fields, okay, some agricultural lands are irrigated. But when we compare with the other this part of India, it is negligible, we can say. Are you clear? Any other question?
No, sir.
Then about the health hazards, okay, we have discussed about fluorosis, which is resulted from the excessive consumption of fluoride, and this overutilization of groundwater, okay, has led to increase in the concentration of arsenic in part of West Bengal and Bihar. In some part of West Bengal and Bihar, because of overutilization of groundwater, concentration of arsenic has been increased. You know, arsenic is poisonous. Okay, and if we consume it, then it may lead to different types of diseases, including cancer. Okay. Next, we have these emerging water problems. Okay, so the per capita availability of water is dwindling day by day due to increase in population. You know, population of India has been growing rapidly, and because of that, per capita availability of water has been declining. The availability of water resources are also getting polluted with industrial, agricultural, and domestic effluents. At the same time, okay, the available water resources are also getting polluted by the industries, by the chemicals, biochemicals or chemicals inputs used in the agricultural field, and from the domestic effluents also, from the grey waters, okay, released from the households. Because of this, the surface water as well as the groundwater is polluted, And this in turn is further limiting the availability of usable water resources. So when the water resources are polluted, okay, then the availability of the usable water is also limited, because polluted water we cannot use it, as you know. Okay, so this is the emerging water problem in India. Next, we have deterioration of water quality. So what do you mean by water quality? Water quality refers to purity of water or water without unwanted foreign substances. Okay, water quality refers to the purity of water or water without unwanted foreign substances. Means if foreign substances are present, then we call the water polluted, right? Water gets polluted by foreign matters such as microorganisms, chemicals, and industrial and other wastes. When foreign substances are added in the water, okay, water is polluted. Maybe microorganism, maybe bacteria, for example, protozoa, okay. Then these chemical residues or substances from the industries or other wastes are added, then water is polluted. And such pollutants, okay, matters deteriorate the quality of water and render unfit for human use. When water is polluted, it is unfit for human use, as you know. And when toxic substances enter lakes, streams, rivers, ocean, and other water bodies, they get dissolved and lie suspended in water. And this results in the pollution of water, whereby the quality of water deteriorates, affecting the aquatic ecosystem. When lake water is polluted, then when the river water is polluted, when ocean water is polluted, then it also affects not only the human being but also the aquatic ecosystem. Okay, it also affects the living beings, okay, found in the water. And sometimes these pollutants also seep down and pollute groundwater. So for example, here, say for example, this is the surface, and here we have the aquifer here. Okay, we have aquifer here, water is present, groundwater is present here. And see, here we have deposits of the this polluted water here, maybe released from the industries or from the agriculture field. And these polluted water, okay, may absorb, okay, may be infiltrated and may reach the aquifer, thus polluting the groundwater also. Okay, so these pollutants also seep down, that means infiltrates downward and pollute the groundwater. And in India, the Ganga and the Yamuna are the two highly polluted rivers in the country. Okay, so mainly polluted by these toxic substances released from the industries. We call it industrial effluents, and grey water from the domestic households. Here we have the map taken from your book. Let's see here. Here in Uttarakhand area, okay, in the mountainous area, the quality of water is good. And when the Yamuna river and the Ganga river flows through big cities like Delhi, okay, Agra, then some other big cities like Varanasi, Allahabad here, the two rivers are polluted. Just see here. after crossing Delhi here, okay, after flowing through the city of Delhi, the quality of Yamuna river becomes poor. Okay, poor here, poor quality water here after crossing Delhi. Likewise, Ganga river also. After flowing through these big cities, then this here, see here, in this area, the quality of water is poor here. Just see, let us see another one. Okay, just see, just see this area from Kanpur to Varanasi. Highly polluted. Okay, very high pollution level is there. Okay, in Kanpur we have many industries. This leather tanning, leather works also there. Okay, and because of that, see here, we have this very high pollution levels. And here in West Bengal also, very high pollution levels. So all these are mainly caused by the industries. And as I told you earlier, so in the hill area, the quality of water is good. Okay. So here these dots, okay, these big dots or the small dots represents big cities or towns or smaller cities. Okay, so here in this map we have located Delhi. So this is Delhi, and this one is Allahabad, right? And this one is Varanasi. Can you tell me the others? Let us look at this map. Okay, major polluting cities of Yamuna and Ganga rivers are here. Delhi, we have pointed out earlier. Here we have Agra. Okay, we have Kanpur here. Actually, here we have Allahabad, and here Varanasi. This is Patna in Bihar. This is Farakka, and this is Kolkata. So these are the major cities polluting both Yamuna and Ganga river. Okay. So any question, boys and girls?
No, sir.
Okay, then let us stop here for today. Thank you very much for joining my class.
Yes, sir.